So today we have a question that really came into sharp focus in Colorado here just in the past few weeks. And that is, what do we do, what can we do when newsrooms go dark? This is something that's been going on in Colorado and happening in slow motion for some time now. Research by Colorado Media Project found that in the past, 20 newspapers across our state had gone out of business in the past 5 years alone. And just last month, we learned that 5 more on our rural eastern plains are about to go dark. So when that happens, whose mission should it be to kind of stand up and do, or step in and do something? At Colorado Media Project, that was one of our first questions, and we're still trying to figure it out, including now, like right now. And so today we have somebody who's been here before, kind of when this has happened, and has helped people bring in new light. And so Andrea, I thought maybe you could talk a little bit about where that light comes from.
Thank you. The short answer, Corey, is the light is people who really care about where they live and the communities around them. Across the country, there are former journalists and concerned community members who have the audacity of David to face the Goliath that is the local news crisis in their backyard. At TinyNews Collective, we support early stage founders who are committed to filling those information gaps, but especially the information gaps that existed even when the journalism industry that was doing well. Founders like Amethyst J. Davis, who founded the Harvey World Herald in Harvey, Illinois, a town of about 20,000 just south of Chicago. Now, thanks to the Harvey World Herald, community or public meetings that used to be unattended or uncovered or underreported, like a recent one where the mayor kicked everybody out of the council chambers, Harvey World Herald is now covering those. We also support founders like Amy Bouchatz, who founded the Alaska-based Matsu Sentinel, which covers the Matsu Valley in the state of Alaska. Amy actually sped up her launch to this summer because of breaking news that was happening that was also going to go underreported. The Matsu school libraries were facing a potential book ban, and thanks to her, it's not happening. The news was really effective and impactful. And we have dozens of examples like this that are across the country, and I'm sure, Corey, there are some in Colorado.
Yeah, kind of. So one of the, some of the recent newspapers that are closing are owned by a hedge fund. And we know that, there are several other newspapers in Colorado that are owned by this hedge fund too. And it's not a stretch to wonder if one of them that might be on the brink is in a town called Estes Park. And there were some journalists from that paper who left before and started their own digital publication called the Estes Valley Voice. So they are preparing for what happens if a newspaper goes dark. We have seen some people in towns and cities here who have banded together and formed nonprofits that have taken over newspapers or brought them back. But it's not always, I think, about saving a newspaper, maybe. Civic engagement, requires people from communities who care, who also might not be journalists. So I wonder if I just think that the solutions of the future project might not look like the solutions of the past all the time. So if you could tell us what kind of person turns on the light switch, so to speak, and what kind of tools might they need to do that.
Also, shout out to Patty Brown, who is here from Estes Valley Board, who just recently left and also just became a TinyNews member. That was not planned. I swear to God. But you're right, Corey. The solutions of today don't look like yesterday, and that's a great thing. At TinyNews, we realize that the industry itself is in a moment similar to what community radio faced in the 70s and indie publishing faced in the 80s and 90s. What the darkness is doing is also forcing us to reshape the infrastructure that allows people to get into news. And I'll say that it's part of what's happening is a national movement to democratize how journalism happens. So hi, Grace. Sorry, Chicago people. Which is really exciting. And so at TinyNews, we help lower the barrier of entry for folks to become media entrepreneurs. And we also really prioritize serving places that are underserved, markets that are underserved. So former journalists or not, I would say the first step to get started for everybody is to asset map what is already there? Who could collaborate with me? What are the gaps? And then from there, Tiny News helps to provide a series of resources and other kinds of connections. So if you need some technical support, like do I launch a website? Should I start with a newsletter? How do I even do that? Legal support, wait, I have to have a contract to hire this freelancer. Business support, do I become a nonprofit? Do I become an LLC or a secret third thing? And then also just thought partnership, because spoiler alert, former journalists who were deadline driven are terrible at making priority lists when they are running an organization. But we love them. They have lots of ambitious ideas and they have community connections to make this happen. But what they need is a pathway and a network of support so they don't burn out along the way. And it's been really exciting to help build that across the country. But I'm sure there are folks in the audience that maybe who would be interested in and crazy enough to start something.
I'm looking. I don't see any hands yet. But I hope so. Which brings us back to the first question we had. What do we do and who sees it as their mission to help when that happens? We've already shown that we're able and willing to connect Colorado organizations to national efforts to help people in communities who want to do that. But then there's a next step, right? And that would be identifying and activating people in those communities. And so if any of you have any ideas, we are going to be at table 6 after this, and we'd love to hear them. So let's connect them and talk about it, because we just don't have the answers yet, but we're working on it, and I think that's what we're all here in this room and at this conference to do, is work on things like this. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.